Okay, it's Tony with Actively Golden, and we're moving right along in our little how to write a book uh, teaching series, whatever you want to call it. And anyone can benefit from this. This is not age related. However, this channel is focused on people over the age of 60, Actively Golden, of course. And because a lot of people who are in our age bracket have put off a lot of the dreams that they had when they were younger. And now at this stage of their life, when they're in semi-retirement or retirement years, they're like, hey, maybe it's now time to do the thing that I wanted to do. And so many people have got that book in them, and they want to write it. And so we have talked about getting the desire to do so. That's the first video. The second video, we talked about actually mapping it out, visualizing it, doing some things related to getting ready to write. And in this video, I'm actually going to talk to you about how to really get started in that first initial chapter. Now, the first thing I'm going to tell you, and it's a very important thing, is when you look at a book, you normally see an introduction and then the first chapter, the second chapter, and so forth. A lot of times you'll see a preface or a foreword, and then an introduction, and then the first chapter, and so forth. Don't think in terms of writing the introduction or the foreword or the preface before you write the first chapter. The first thing you're going to do is write the first chapter, uh, because if you write the introduction first or the preface first, it might dictate the way that the book goes. And what you want to do is write the book first, the chapters first, and then go back and write the introduction as to what the book is going to cover, because you've already written it. So it makes a lot more sense. A lot of people think just the opposite. You got to start with that introduction. Start with the first chapter. And so that's the first thing. Decide you're going to write the first chapter. And then right after that, decide when you're going to do it. We talked about this in the first video, but set a time that you're going to write. You know, whether it's every single day, every other day, once a week, 2 or 3 times a week, whatever. When are you most creative? And when will you have some uninterrupted time for an hour, 2 or 3, whatever time you're going to take? For me, I'm very creative first thing in the morning. I mean, it seems like after lunchtime, my brain creativity turns off. But man, when I get up at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, my mind is fresh, and I can't write down things fast enough because I've just got so many ideas. I don't know if it's because I've slept on them or if there's just something wrong with me. I don't know. But you've got to set that time. You've got to figure out when that is going to be. And then you've got to, go get up or go to wherever you're going to write at that time. And you're going to get yourself something refreshing to drink. Maybe it could be a cup of coffee, could be a glass of tea or something. And then grab your legal pad where you've written down all of these notes, because you're going to want to have that handy, because again, you've written out some approaches to each chapter. So you wrote a little brief summary in just paragraph or two of that first chapter. So you're going to want to look at it and then process how you're going to write it. And then you're just simply going to start typing that first sentence, those first sentences. And don't worry about what it looks like or what it sounds like right now. Do not edit as you go. Write it. Go ahead and start writing that first chapter. Give yourself permission to not be at your best right now. Give yourself permission to have a slow start. You've got all this stuff written down, but then when you sit down and actually start typing, you're like, wow, this is a little more challenging than I thought. That's okay. Give yourself permission for that slow start. Start writing, and as what you're going to find is that as you write, the more you write, future chapters are going to become easier. This slow start is actually going to be not very common. It's the first chapter or two that tends to be where you have your slow start, and probably several reasons for that: psychological reasons, limiting belief reasons, and so forth. Whatever it may be, there's just certain things that may be causing you to get off to a slow start. But don't let that hinder you. Just get started. Write what you can, and if you need to pause for a few moments, scratch your head, grab your legal pad, and be reminded of some things, then do that. Now, another thing that I do is that when I get into a little bit, and I'm sorry, the sun is kind of peeking through the screened-in porch here, right about the time I'm making this video, but I'm not going to edit it out. I'm just going to move my head out of that a little bit. Um, but a lot of times, what I'm doing when I'm writing on something that I'm familiar with, but I'm a little stuck, one of the things I can do is I can go grab a book off of my shelf. I can go grab a book off of my bookshelf, a book that's similar in topic, maybe even the same topic, and just kind of peruse through some of the things that I have read before. I might be writing something to build upon something another writer might have said or stated. And so if I go and I just peruse through a different book, I might actually end up seeing some things that will enhance what I'm writing, and I can just sort of reword it in a way that makes sense for me. But looking at other writings, looking at other authors, that can also be very, very beneficial. So just set that time, get the introduction out of your mind. There's a plane going over. How cool is that? Making a video, but I'm not going to edit the plane out either. Just going to let you listen to the plane fly over. And but what you want to do is you want to set that time and you want to get started writing it. Give yourself permission to have a slow start, uh, understanding that you will speed up as you go. You will get better at this. Some of these chapters will feel like they're writing themselves because, again, you already know so much more than you think you do. Now you've got this book in you, and as you write and as you tap into your memory, your recall, your experience, things are just going to start coming up from your subconscious mind into your conscious mind, and you're going to recall so many things, and you're not going to be able to write it down fast enough. As a matter of fact, I have written books to where I couldn't put everything I knew into it. So I set those things aside and made a file to where I'm going to write a totally different book, based upon it. Because again, there's just so much information coming to me so quickly. So you're going to want to get started. Set that time, get started, write that first chapter. Don't think in terms of writing the introduction first. Don't edit as you go, because that will just bog you down and slow you down and put you into a writing wilderness that you don't want to be in. I'm going to move this over this way. Going to put you in a writing wilderness that you don't want to be in. And editing will come later. You're going to edit things later. And I'm going to talk about that. You're not only going to edit it yourself, but you're going to get a proofreader that's going to do some things with you and for you. That's my shop in the background, by the way. Big mess over there. But just start writing. Give yourself permission to have that slow start. Don't worry about editing it right now. Once you finish the entire first chapter, if you want to do some editing before you move on to the next chapter, that's okay. You can do that. As you see, some sentences that could have been written better and so forth. But for the most part, save the editing till much later. The main thing is get something down, the rough book in place. The editing is the easy part. You can do that later. So, and then the last thing I want to tell you is write until you've set the time to stop writing, or until you just can't write anymore. You've just run out of steam. You're just mentally drained, and that happens. But here's something really cool that happens. I told you I'm a morning person, and I like writing early in the morning. But what's happened to me so many times is once I get into the book and I start writing it, and I'm just feeling excited about it, and I wrote a full chapter, in one sitting. Then as the day went on, after I turned my computer off and went on about my other responsibilities and work, the other ideas for the other books just kept, or the other chapters start really burning in my mind. And by the time I got back to my computer, even when it wasn't early in the morning, it was late at night. I couldn't stop myself from running to the computer and writing even more. That's what's fun about it. Once you get really into it, your mind will really kick in. Your imagination will soar, your creativity will soar, and you will find yourself writing a lot more than you realize. And sometimes you'll find yourself writing at that set aside time. And then sometimes, you know, going to your computer when you're not even planning on writing and writing more. That's when it gets really good and getting really fun. But get that first chapter written. Don't worry about editing completely just yet. You want to get in the mode of writing. And as you're in the mode of writing, even though you might be in a slow start, it'll come. It'll start coming. Your mind will start giving you more and more ideas, and you won't be able to type it fast enough. And the next thing you know, you're into the next chapters, and it just gets easier and easier and easier. So thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next video. Please put your comments below. Like and subscribe if you haven't done so. Tony, Actively Golden. All the best.